Welcome to RiaTalk, where we're always keeping it real about real life. And here's your host, Maria.
Hello. Welcome to RiaTalk. Let's talk.
So what are we talking about? Let's get into it.
Cancel. We're talking about cancel culture today. And the star of the show that I would like to put on Front Street, up front, real close, is David Chappelle. And what was his show, the last show?
Are you talking about his comedy stand-up?
Yes, his comedy stand-up.
His comedy stand-up on Netflix is called The Closer.
The Closer. I watched it, and I was so impressed, and I enjoyed it. He was funny and very informative, and he was talking about cancel culture. He made me think. I love when people can give me a different view on a subject that I've already thought about. And he gave all of us, most of us who are Democrats, liberals, I want good things for everybody.
Right.
But sometimes when you want good things for everybody, the pendulum can swing too far to the left. The pendulum can swing too far to the right. We need to make the pendulum go in the middle so we'll all have rights. The people to the right and the people to the left. We're all Americans. Let's build back better for America.
I see. So what exactly did you want to talk about cancel culture?
When I was listening to David Chappelle, he was specifically talking about, first of all, I want to talk about, he was talking about people counseling you for your opinion. And your opinion becomes a free speech issue. And specifically, he was concerned for comedians. Comedians joke about everything. Can they joke about everything? Is there nothing sacred? I always think there is always something sacred. And it's not whether you LBGQ, whether you Me Too, whether you Black Lives Matter. See, all these things matter to me. So I'm calling them out. Because I care about people having their rights respected and observed. But if you want me to respect you, you got to respect me. And you got to see things in the context in which they're said. I always say comedians should not joke about God. God is sacred. But, it depends on the context in which they're talking about God. Is there anything sacred? Is Jesus sacred? Is God sacred? Those are the things I start cringing. You can go too far with that. Like you have no respect.
Well, some people feel like sexuality is kind of, that's a little bit too close to home.
Sexuality, that's not God, though. Sexuality is among humans. God is superior. He's omnipotent. You cannot put LBGQ, Black Lives Matter, Me Too, any other, even abortion right issues. None of that trumps God.
I understand that, but not everybody believes in God.
That's what they believe. But I'm just saying for comedians, not everybody believe in God. That's on you. Believe what you believe. When the hellfire happens and you're thrown in the lake of fire, then you tell me how much of God you like. God save me. But I'm not here to talk about that today. Believe what you believe. This is America. I'm not trying to proselytize anybody. I believe. It bothers me when people, I'm not saying I'm a Christian, you can believe in, I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe in the birth, the death, and the resurrection of Jesus Christ. I believe in the second coming of Jesus Christ. But having to have said that, I hear you, and I hear your right to be an unbeliever, to be atheist, to be agnostic. This is America. You have that right. I hear your right. I respect. I don't know if that's the right word, but for the lack of a better word right now, you have a right to believe what you believe. I don't know whether respect is a proper word, but what I do say, you have a right to believe what you believe. Even God gives you the right, because he says, choose ye this day whom you will serve. Joshua said, for me and my house, I will serve the Lord. And back to cancel culture, I started wondering, because David Chappelle was very compelling in his thing, and he was saying, bottom line, when comedians, he said everything is open for comedians, maybe even God. If I hear a comedian saying something that sounds offensive about God, about Jesus Christ, if that offends my sensibilities, then I'm going to stop listening to him. I'm going to exercise my right to turn it off. And I'm wondering, should we cancel these people, or should we exercise our right to choose? I choose to listen to you. I choose not to listen to you. God wants to give us a choice, not to be forced. And I'm wondering if cancel culture is attempting to force people to feel the way they feel.
I think I saw the special too, and I think it was good because it opened the door to a lot of conversations that need to be had. But in regards to cancel culture in general, I think what it is not that it's forcing people, but it's holding people accountable for what they say. You're right, comedians.
What's the difference between holding people accountable for what they say, and what does that mean? Holding people accountable for what they say. What does that mean?
Because the parable, the greatest truth is told in a joke. It's funny because people relate to it, and maybe because this is a little truth of how they feel. So if they say black people got big lips and they look like monkeys and people laugh at it, well, maybe it's because that joke was funny and it landed that way because you believe that. And therefore, you internalize that and treat black people as such, like monkeys, big-lipped monkeys. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be careful when you're making these things, because a little bit of levy is a lot. I think that's how the saying goes.
A little leaven's the whole lump.
Right. So
that means you put a little bit in, and it spreads.
Right.
It's a disease. And I think, speaking on that, I think that's a good thing to expound a little bit on, to say that is why people who have not been heard, who's been the underdog, whose voices have not been heard, who's been injured, they are, it's like they say, powerless people who are finding their voices, and they're saying that is not funny, you're injuring us. But there has to be a balance. I hear you, and I think it's right. I want these people to have voices. We all should have a voice. All Americans, all people, even people who are not American, people who are here, but they're not Americans. I don't say they should have the rights like Americans, because this is America. If you certain things, you got to have citizenship. But if you have a voice, and if you're a woman, and you're in America, whether you're documented, undocumented, your voice should say, I have a right of ownership of my body. For you not to beat me up because you're my boyfriend or you're my husband. For you not to rape me because you're my boyfriend or my husband. Or to say, just because I'm LBGQTA or whatever, I have a right to exist in America. I have a right not to be beaten up, not to be injured, to be heard, to have a job, to have opportunity, just like everybody else. I should have all the rights of all Americans without regard to gender, sex, sexuality, ethnic group, all of those good things.
I agree with you. I think that you have a right to that. I think, like I said before, in conversations with friends and family, I believe the issue that Dave Chappelle touched upon, and what is a sore nerve in any of these social justice matters is intersectionality. So you have two marginalized communities that, that receive injustice and prejudice against, right? But then you have one group that seems, when they cry out, their cries are heard louder than another group. When they cry out, they have to keep crying because no one addresses their issues. And that's that intersectionality between those two kinds of groups. So I think that's...
I hear you what you're saying. That happens to us as black people all the time.
Correct.
When the little Petito girl got... Gabby Petito was missing. This is what we like to call a sidebar, but it makes it clear in my mind. You have over 40,000 black women missing in America today. Maybe more since last I read that. And nobody's crying out for them. Nobody cries out for us, almost never. But then you get one little blue-eyed white girl, blonde white girl, a white girl, period. But the ones that get the most attention, the most sympathy, generally is blonde hair, blue-eyed. And while you got these black hair, brown girls, brown and black girls who gets injured, it appears that America doesn't care.
Exactly, and that's what I was saying. And when I talk about this issue with, like I said, friends and family members, those are the two issues that stick out to me a lot. That's like the same thing with the women's rights movements. There's intersectionality because what affects white women and the issues that affect them are different, and they disproportionately impact black women. It's all about intersectionality and how do you maneuver and handle these kinds of crossroads in these kind of social justice issues. And what I got from Dave Chappelle's stand-up is he's saying that, hey, we both are marginalized groups, and I'm not trying to beat down on this group, but I don't want this group to beat down on me. I don't want our issues to go unsung either, because they are also injustices. And I think he was just trying injustices. Right. I think he was trying to show the parallels instead of pitting communities against each other. He was trying to show the parallel, like, you have hurt, I have hurt, and that's why I understand your hurt, because understand not that I'm gay or a homosexual, or anything like that, but I understand you as a human being. I understand you being disenfranchised.
As a marginalized group.
Correct.
As a discriminated against
Correct.
group. That doesn't have the opportunity of, or does not enjoy what we should enjoy as all American, the right to liberty and the pursuit of happiness.
Correct.
And so I understand what he's saying too. And I think that's why I say it has to be a balance. It has to be a balance of concerns, issues, rights, balancing it out. I always say, as far as most things are economics. Not necessarily this issue, but like you said, intersectionality. Mm-hmm. Isn't that what you said?
Intersectionality. Mm-hmm.
Intersectionality.
Mm-hmm.
And I often think about economics.
Right.
I always say people who are under the underserved communities, usually it's like the brown and black people. Mm-hmm. And I hate it when we fight each other for the little crumbs that falls from, like some people say, the master's table or the dominant group's table. When America has a big pie, instead of fighting for the crumbs amongst ourselves, fighting each other, why don't we fight for a slice of pie? We can divide that pie into enough section that everybody can have a piece of that pie instead of us fighting each other over the crumbs. You're fighting the wrong group. And so when I think about the cancel culture, cancel, are we doing the wrong things to be canceling some of these people, comedians? As Dave Chappelle said, he said, you can call people the N-word and you can get paid even more money to keep calling the N-word, even though we say the N-word is wrong. You would not be canceled hardly say nothing negative about a black person, about black as a group, but you say something about gay people and you cancel. I know they don't. He's right about that.
I mean, I think that's changing because look at that football coach or the Raiders. He did say something, and it was in his emails, and he said, calling football players, and I don't know the whole situation, so I don't want to speak verbatim or about it, but it was something to the effect that he had said misogynistic and racist things about the football players, about the whole thing, and he did have to step down. So I think it's changing a little bit.
I think it's important. That's the where the balance comes. Mm-hmm. It's like these communities, LBGQ, T, and I may be missing some of the letters. They have been abused, mm-hmm. used, and mistreated, mm-hmm. and now they're getting their voices. But we have to balance your voice with everybody's voice. That's what I'm just saying.
Exactly.
So does that mean we should cancel? Like, certain people have been canceled. They should have been canceled. R. Kelly, in my opinion, for sure. Mm-hmm. All child molesters should be canceled. Mm-hmm. But you ask another person, how about Nick Cannon? That was attacked. How about Sharon Arsbon? Mm-hmm. What should she have been canceled? How about Roseanne Barr? Do you think Roseanne? How about what Roseanne Barr? Should she? I don't know. But these are people. They say Kevin Hart. The thing that bothered me about Kevin Hart, all the people I'm calling out, Kevin Hart had changed his position. Should we hold people? And there's a guy. I'm trying to think. Is it called the Greek? He has spoken. He has his own program, and I was trying to see it was called the Greek something, but he held a position 10, 15, 20 years ago. That is not the same as he feels. You mean we cannot allow people to grow? Kevin Hart had changed his position, but yet cancel culture caused him to lose a job opportunity that he had dreamt about, that was like the epitome of his career, the very top. And because he felt some kind of way out of maybe ignorance or whatever 10, 15 years ago, sometimes you need to ask people, they need to be canceled for what they did today, not for what they did yesterday, unless it was something horrific like Nazis. They need to cancel whenever we find them. If we find them and they have injured people, I don't care that you have changed your position. But how about those 6 million Jews that you killed during World War II? You may have changed your position, but we can't bring back those people's lives. So that's when we got to hold you accountable. Those are things. There are certain things that you do in the past that you do have to hold accountable. But certain people, certain opportunities, not certain people, certain things should be open to allow people to grow. That's why we do this for young people in criminal law. We don't hold young people as accountable for their behavior as we do adults, because we give them opportunity to grow, and what we call youthful indiscretions. Young people do foolish things, but we allow them to grow, and they become more accountable as they become adults. So this is what I'm saying about cancel culture. Can you allow people? We should. It is my position to allow people to have a change of mind as they are educated, when they know better, to do better.
I agree with that. I think that you can allow people to grow. I think, though, that you do have to hold people accountable. But if they apologize, because Nick Cannon also apologized, just like how Kevin Hart apologized. Like all these people that you that you mentioned did apologize. However, the only thing that I guess I get a little bit upset about is when these people have apologized because they have grown, or they said that they weren't like in Nick Cannon's situation, he wasn't fully educated on the Jewish culture, So once you've apologized, I think we should allow the person extend some grace.
Right,
And I don't
grace,
think that
exactly.
people extend grace, but because it's a very complicated thing, because when money's involved, there's a lot of people who are sorry, but is that a genuine sorry? You never can know, but I do
You
think.
can never know. This is why we should look at it like this. You can never know how sincere a person. We're not in their hearts. Many times when I'm working in the courts, I heard this very kind and wise judge say, he said, I'm not a mind reader. You might be telling the truth, the plaintiff and the defendant. He said, I believe you. I believe you. One of you cannot be right, or we wouldn't be in court today. So the evidence, we must let the evidence speak for you. If Kevin has shown in his behavior that he is grown, that if he's still telling jokes, if Nick Cannon's still telling ugly jokes, but you can see, but he is not, and you can see his behavior has changed, then you have to say he is not that person anymore. None of us. I am not the person I was when I was 18. Heck, I'm not the person today that I was when I was 30. So if I want you to understand me and give me a little mercy, a little grace, the opportunity to make mistakes, opportunity to grow, I think we need to afford the opportunity to everybody. And I like the way you said that. I love that. Grace. A little understanding.
I think so. I'm not against cancel culture, because I think it provides that moment to pause. In that moment, it provides you a moment to apologize and clarify some things. So I'm not. The only time I get I guess I have an issue. The only time I have an issue with cancel culture is when you do not allow that person to make that correction. So
Exactly.
you stop their bag, you stop their career, you stop their livelihood. I feel like we can we can bring it to attention and say, hey, no, you said that you said racist stuff,
Right,
you said
yes.
homophobic stuff. But if you said, you know what, I grew from then, and I apologize to that community, and I have done things and done steps to make up for that transgression.
Or you can see where I've grown.
Right.
I've donated. I have friends who are gay. I've donated to gay cause. I have spoken out on gay issues.
Correct.
That I support my LGBTQ community in the sense of they too are Americans. They too have the rights of all Americans.
True.
And that is what I think I hear you say.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I'm saying. And like you said, let the evidence speak for me. Let the work that he's done speak for him. All of these people. How have you grown? If like you said, I think it must exist. Because if it did not exist, that bad behavior, that negative behavior, that injury would keep going.
Correct.
So cancel culture is a tool to address wrongs.
Right.
So we're not against it, but also but you heard me keep saying the balance. There must be a balance.
Right. There must be a balance, and yeah, like I said, I feel like that these people get in trouble because also it's called like low hanging fruit, right? Low hanging fruit. A gay joke, a black joke, a woman joke is low-hanging fruit. It's an easy joke. It's an easy laugh, So I think that especially when comedians in particular are going through their careers, it's easy to get those kind of jokes. But as they evolve and grow, and how they do their sets, I think that they start moving away from that, or hopefully they start moving away from that. So yeah, that's it. I agree with you. There has to be a balance, and there has to be, like you said, some kind of allowing them to, some type of redemption that they can receive.
Right. There must be redemption. In America, we believe in second chances.
Right.
This country, we always rally around, cheer a person that has been redeemed. Many times, what comes to mind quickly is a person that went to prison, served their time. They did the crime, they did the time, but while they were doing their time, they made changes in their lives. They come out, become better people, productive citizens of society. They're truly sorry for the wrong that they've done. So I think we have to be respectful, give grace to people who have injured the people at one point that had no voice and still struggling to find their voices. And one of the few instruments they have is cancel culture. Is to say cancel, cancel, cancel.
Okay, I think that's a good stopping point. That's it for RiaTalk, where we're always keeping it real about real life. Please follow us on Instagram at RiaTalk and our YouTube channel, RiaTalk. And until next time, we'll see you tomorrow.